Hello to my Leos. All right, Leos, this is Queen Amun Ra coming to you with your general reading. I was notified that your video did not upload. So I want to make sure we get a video out for you today. So my apologies to you all. Something's going on, I guess, with the fire signs because Aries alerted me that the end of their video, the sound was lost there. And then I recorded an entire video for Sagittarius. There was no sound in that video. So I had to do redo an entire recap and a whole new video for them. So something going on with fire, but we pressed through. So thank you for those of you all who sent me a personal text message to notify me. I appreciate the love. So if you're new to my channel, welcome. If you're coming back, welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. All right. So if you want a personal reading, my information is down below. If you don't see any times, text me 202-460-3205. All right. So let's kind of walk it back a little bit. So first of all, happy new moon in Gemini, right? Gemini rules third house. Third house is all about your early learning, like how you learned as a child, right? And some of those things still stick with you, like early lessons that you learned, as a child. Some of those friendships and relationships you still take with you. Some of them you move on from, but we're in year 9. So 2025. So something with your spiritual practices, your spiritual learning, spiritual knowledge has expanded, breaking some chains. There may have been some lines drawn in the sand when it comes to certain things from year 8. 8 is a karmic number. That was 2024. 2 plus 2 is 4. 4 plus 4 is 8. So you may have finally drawn some lines in the sand when it comes to your religious beliefs versus someone else's religious beliefs, your beliefs on what you're renewing in terms of contractual agreements, whether it was rental agreements, whether it was renewing jobs, whatever you were renewing, friendships or whatever. Some people may not have agreed with it. You may have been ascending higher or at a different speed than other people in your social circle. They may not have liked it. They may have thought that you changed. Maybe somebody thought you got brand new because you discovered that you were you starting to balance yourself out, whatever it was. But nevertheless, we had a full moon, we had a full flower moon last cycle. So let's pretend like it's yesterday and let's close out that cycle. Make sure it's closed out so that you can make sure you're getting your proper rest because we're in new moon phase. So technically, if you're watching it on Tuesday, May 27th, it's the new moon in Gemini. But let's step back for a second since time is relative. So the moon affects various parts of our body. A moon in Taurus affects your throat chakra. So Taurus rules second house, and second house is all about your material possessions, right? Material possessions, including your physical body, knowing your self-worth, right? And so the overarching question that I gave everybody for everybody's reading was just kind of sort of around, where have you compromised your self-worth and how can you reclaim your self-worth? In other words, what relationships would you feel like you have overstayed your time in other people's universe, and how can you reclaim that? Like how in spaces where you feel like you've overgave to people and you weren't appreciated. Maybe overgave in some friendships, not like you were counting, but the rare times that you needed something from certain people, they weren't available. It was an excuse. It was something where you were just like shocked that all the times that you were there, they could not do something for you, right? And so those relationships, you may need to pull up those weeds and finally say, okay, I need to plant some new seeds somewhere to grow, right? I need to grow some new seeds. I need to grow it because that's not fertile soil anymore. And that situation. I need to look at it through a different lens. All right, let's get into your reading. I've already and so that's a lesson that you learn, and that's where a moon in where the moon in Gemini comes in. The new moon is that the new you is more balanced out. Gemini's card is about duality and learning how to adapt. You're a fixed sign. Gemini is a mutable sign, and so you're learning how to adapt, right? You're learning how to adapt, right? So the sun is medicine, and how you're learning how to adapt is instead of you getting fire hot mad, right? Like you get ready to just, turn into a ball of fire, you're going outside to get some sun. Going outside to get some sun, right? So when you feel like when you've over given time, attention, energy to something, you're going outside and you're recharging under that sunlight. And you're saying, you know what, some things I need to just toss into a burning bowl. I need to wrap this thing up and I need to move on with my life for real, because it's just not even worth it anymore to keep just like recharging my batteries, and then it's not serving the purpose anymore. It's just something is just not serving the same purpose. It's not serving the purpose. I just need to know when to close out a cycle. I need to know when to close out a cycle. Cycle is over. I need to get some rest. I just need to get some rest, right? So let's get an angel number. So ask yourselves that question, Leos. Where have you compromised your self-worth, and how can you reclaim your self-worth? Because otherwise, you'll end up at the end of a cycle feeling like you've completely wasted your time. And if you, and not to say that anybody's watching this video is a low vibrating Leo, but if you're in the presence of a low vibrating Leo, you could see somebody completely go off on a person completely and make something all about them, fiery, hot, mad. They don't know where to put all of that fire. Whether it's their sun or moon in Leo, they just don't know where to put all of that fire, taking it out on who they think is. Remember, your symbol is a lion, and a lion natural instinct is to, take out its prey, right? And so source is saying to you, that could cause you to just kind of lose it, and end up losing your job, end up losing friendships, end up losing relationships, all of that, because somebody don't know that the sun is medicine. Sun is medicine, right? So 599, there we go. That's the water right there. So be steadfast, fortify your mindset. Your angels are asking you to reconsider a belief you currently have. The present situation is calling you to change your mind about something in order to align with who you authentically are. Being steadfast and secure in your own intuitive wisdom is necessary now. Write down what is important to your soul at this time and reflect on how you can stay true to that in the days to come, even as you may shift your beliefs to harmonize what you hold true within. So, somebody possibly, Source is asking you to close out 2 cycles so that you can balance something out. But somebody must be around someone who is incredibly stubborn, who is causing you to be stubborn. Their energy must be a bullying type. They may not be bullying you, but their energy may have that sort of a bullying type of energy, right? And it could be like a person who, it could come across in a very passive, like a passive aggressive way, where they can come across as like very generous with their patients, like they got time, right? They can come across that way to you, like they got time. They're like, okay, they got time, all the time in the world. You know, it's no big deal to them, no big rush to them. But for you, as a fire sign, it could just be like, okay, I'm so sick and tired of this. Whatever it is, doesn't really matter what it is. For you, something can be really frustrating, but something could just be like, okay, I'm tired. I'm tired of having to deal with something, right? So somebody could be seeing the dark side of someone who is very lazy, someone who is irrational, and who is very materialistic, right? But they could be sort of passing it off as like passive aggressive, to you. They could be passing it off. And this would be somebody who is, you have an emotional connection with. This is somebody that would be in your space, in your space. Like they will easily match, they easily match negative energy. So it's kind of hard for them to transmute. It's hard for them to return to sender, right? So for them, they vibrate on a lower in that lower chakra, but on the dark side of the lower chakra. So they do very well in the dark energy because that's a safe space for them. So in your light, it almost looks like, if this makes sense to somebody, because this would appeal to somebody's ego. It would almost look like you're coddling them to some degree. You know how, but it's their energy is really kind of playing you. It's almost like having that friend that you always have to talk off the ledge, but you don't see it at first. They're wasting your time, or you could be doing something else. So it gets to a point of almost enabling somebody. You almost feel like, when you're talking to other people about that particular friend, you're almost like, yeah, I have to talk to them, because they really stress, that I got this friend, they going through some stuff and this kind of, and they just sitting over there with this kind of sort of Cheshire cat grin on their face behind your back, like, yeah, look at how I'm playing Leo, right? Yeah, because that's how they're wired, and you'll be leaving them behind. You got stuff to do. You're closing out a cycle. Your mental health is just as important as your physical health. I'm telling y'all see me shuffling. Well, I don't know if you saw me shuffling cards or not. Somebody's playing on your mental. Yeah, they're playing on your mental because some people know how to. They know how to hover in the dark spaces. They know how to play these mental games. They don't want to do the work themselves. I can even be talking about a low vibrating Leo, whose their sun or moon sign is Leo. And I know that's not you all tuned in. You can be very high vibrational, but watch out for that. When people, you keep trying to help people, you keep trying to shine a light on something. And again, I'm talking to you wherever fifth house, whoever you are tuned into your fifth house, wherever Leo is in your birth chart, or let me say, or wherever Leo is in your birth chart, you're trying to let your inner child come out and play. Um, you're trying to vibrate high. You're trying to close out a cycle. You're trying to get your rest, like you would be doing, like most people would be doing during new moon, right? New moon, new you. You're trying to learn lessons from the past. Here we are, getting ready for the next retrograde, which is going to be on July 4th. It's going to be a retrograde in Neptune, and right now it's like you're going through an emotional roller coaster. So it's you got to slow down because uh, the judgment card is retrograde until October 14th. That's Pluto, right? And Scorpio is ruled by Pluto. Not that we're talking about a Scorpio, but Scorpio rules eighth house, and that's a karmic number. Year 8 was 2024, right? So it's like this energy does not want to break chains with you. They want to keep you chained to them, and they are doing it very methodically in a way, almost playing the victim, but putting you sort of like in a savior kind of, like you're their savior, but behind your back they're smiling. So source is like, you have the gift of precognition. You have foreknowledge. Nothing about that is cute when you're trying to close out chakras. It's time to pull it up at the root chakra. It's not cute. You are protected by angels. Yeah. And so how that ties into yesterday, if you're watching this on Tuesday, the throat chakra, is Taurus is a earth sign, and your physical body is the earth sign. It's just like knowing your worth and your value. And so I need to physically remove myself. Your physical body is the earth. I need to physically remove myself from a situation. Remember, Taurus and Libra both are ruled by Venus. Venus is the goddess of love, pleasure, art, music, aesthetics, right? So you could be in a relationship. It doesn't have to be a romantic one. Relationship could be co-parenting. It could be a friendship. It could be a family relationship with somebody who is almost acting like you're saving them from something, that they're helpless, they don't know what to do, something like that. But it's really blocking the sun, if that makes any sense. It's blocking your sunlight, right? It's blocking your sunlight. So you being steadfast, and so you're asking source for clarity, and clarity is clear water. Source is a living water within. You're asking source, God, most high, a higher power, for clarity and how to uproot something. Be patient, the answers are coming, right? Your gifts have increased. Your gifts have increased. There are signs all around you. hmm Somebody never stopped loving you. And that's really the root of something, is that somebody never stopped loving you. So they're being way, way creative and having chaining themselves to you. And so either they're still connected to someone who is a master manipulator, who's teaching them how to masterfully manipulate you, and you just don't know it. Here we have Angel Uriel, the angel of prophecy and wisdom. So it's time for you to talk to God, Most High God, right? Who is wisdom, right? It's for wisdom, right? And always bet on you. Always bet on you. You inspired them to heal. Yeah, because you're shining a light on something. It's time for you to ground yourselves. Time for you to ground yourselves, right? But it's stop returning phone calls. Yep. It's time for you to close out a cycle because something happened during a Saturn return. So Saturn return, it happens every 29 and a half years, right? It is not always every 29 and a half years, but Saturn return is like you're trying to close out a cycle. That could mean kids going away to college. It could mean you're moving, you're like a major life change where you're trying to close out a cycle and start a new one, right? Where you're maybe transporting personal identifiable information like social security cards, identification. Maybe you're moving furniture, where you're moving energy because everything is energy, right? Or if you have little kids, maybe they're like between homes and this kind of thing, and it's energy in one home, energy in your home, energy in their home, um, or whatever. Sometimes people even share pets. They may not have kids. May have pets as their kids. Energy, everything is energy, right? Whatever it is, a major life change. And so somebody needs to learn how to start getting out in the sun. If somebody has a demon of pride, they're very, very prideful. They don't want you to close out a cycle and they're not happy without you. But that is not your job to make someone happy, right? So you have the gift of clairsentience. You pick up on others' vibrations, their feelings and emotions. So somebody has definitely inherited that gift. You have a clear sense. Clair obviously is clear. So somebody definitely has inherited psychic abilities from someone in your bloodline. That's an inherited gift that you have, a psychic gift, clairsentience. But you're going directly to the living water within, which is God, for clarity. So you're tapping in during this new moon phase. This reading is for the 27th of May through June 3rd, which puts us right at the first quarter moon in Virgo. We're not talking about any Virgos that you know. Virgo and Gemini, like I said, we have a new moon in Gemini, are both ruled by Mercury. So as you're, and like I said, and right before that, yesterday, the moon was in Taurus, which affects your throat chakra, right? Which is also your thyroids, which also the point of manifestation. So who are you talking to? You're talking to God. That's who you're talking to. You're talking to God for clarity, or Most High God, higher, higher, source, um, for clarity, because you're inspiring people to heal. But you inspiring people to heal, does that mean that you can't close out cycles and leave energies behind? That's great that you're inspiring people to heal, close out cycles, move on, right? Yeah. Yeah, but you're not going back. You're definitely not going back because obviously you exposed something in them that just did it for you. Something about how they're wired is like it's off. Something is very, very off. They're on the dark side of number 9. They're egotistical and tyrannical when they don't get their way. When things end for them, they're egotistical and tyrannical. Like they just lose it. Like a spark plug is missing. And I'm serious. It's just like a ticking time bomb. And something for you is just not cool and it's not okay. It's not cool and it's not okay. And that's something that you don't want to be chained to because it has a chain reaction. So for you, you're like, nah, nope, nah. Thought it was all, it's one thing to let your inner child come out, and that's what a high vibrating Leo is all about. You roll fifth house, but some people are just childish and immature, low vibrational. They don't know how to operate in a higher frequency. They don't know how to come off of a lower frequency. It's like the elevator is stuck between floors. And I'm not saying this to be funny, or I'm not saying this to be facetious. I'm serious. That is why in my readings, I try to keep it as high vibrational as possible, because even when people ask me to take it down to the lower frequency, oh, can you teach me about this? I don't practice dark magic, period. I just don't. If you want to do a return to sender, that's different. That's totally, totally different. That's like not opening the door, not opening a portal. So it just passes you by. It just like passes you by. It don't even hit your door. It don't even hit you, period. It's just going right back to whoever's sending it your way. But none of that dark magic mess, because some people can't handle it. It's a lot of energy down on that frequency. Some people like to play in that dark magic and they don't know how to come off of that floor. And some people literally get stuck there. They think it's all fun and games. They don't know how, they just stuck. Yeah. Queen of Swords. Somebody is literally stuck in the 6th house. Somebody is stuck in the 6th house. We got 12 houses. We have 12 houses. Could you imagine somebody being stuck in the 6th house? And you still got, we're in the 9th house now, the year 9, and somebody's stuck in the 6th house. So whoever they're connected to, you got somebody in common is stuck in the 6th house. And that's health, work habits, daily routines, fitness, pets, service to others, spiritual practices. They're stuck. They're literally stuck. So it's like somebody is on repeat. Like they can't move, and you all are the fixed sign. But this energy, like I said before, you all may be fixed on high frequency, but somebody somewhere in those areas of their life, somewhere, you're going to have to learn how to be very meticulous and pay attention, because you're going to start shining a light on being very meticulous. And it's not like you're nitpicking people apart, but that's what the light is all about, is being very, it's almost like dating somebody and you just can't put your finger on, like, it's something about them that's off. You really can't tell what it is. And I'm not, again, I'm talking to men and women for real. Something is not right. It's not something that you heard about them, but something, when I say off, meaning that y'all are not aligned. You know what I'm saying? Y'all are not aligned. Something is off, right? I don't like use the term calling people, crazy. I mean, people go through things in life, but something is wrong with their emotions. When somebody can just easily put their emotions away under lock and key when it comes to humanity. It's like they have no and be this with a sword when it comes to fighting people. It's like they have no emotions towards mankind when it comes to fighting people. They know how to put their emotions away, like a robot, like somebody who has been programmed to just attack. So don't be a fool, because something is chaining you to something. Yeah. And somebody likes to play games. They like to play games of chess with people's blood relatives right here. Somebody looked at somebody. This deals with first house. First house is about first impression. It's about personality, temperament, appearance, self-image, first impression, self-awareness, outlook on life. Somebody took a look at somebody and thought somebody would be a fool. And once they realized somebody wasn't a fool, somebody was like, okay, I got to put on my thinking cap. I gotta think about this. I need to put my emotions away. It's almost like something became a major challenge for somebody. And somehow somebody is trying to get you looped into something. So you need to start seeing something from a higher frequency. You have to see something from a higher frequency, because some triangulation is going on here. So here's this owl right here, and in this is knowledge. So source is saying to some degree, well, I can't say to some degree, you know exactly, you do have knowledge. I can't even say, you have knowledge of who the two energies are. Yeah. So you have knowledge of who the two energies are. Because these are energies that you have something in common with these energies. Like everybody, all of these energies have something in common with thinking that somebody was a fool. And this color yellow here speaks to enlightenment. See this yellow dress here? Remember, in tarot, there is no gender, right? This color yellow speaks to enlightenment, but this speaks to generational. This is a generational planet. This is Uranus. This is a generational planet. And so whoever people thought was a fool marches to the beat of their own drum, right? They're really a free spirit. See how this person has their arms stretched out wide? Really a free spirit. And so somebody tried to make a fool out of someone's 11th house and also your 11th house. And this is what you and someone have in common. Like when some people don't get their way, they try to make a fool out of your future. This is your 11th house. So 11th house is about your friendships, your community, your goals, your hopes, your wishes, your awareness, your humanitarianism, your technology, and your future. So when you're dealing with people who you have already been on the receiving end of really being a victim, it doesn't matter whether you're a man or a woman, and people have really gone out of their way to make a fool out of you, and they are still chained to certain people who are in a karmic cycle, whatever that karmic cycle is, when they have no regard for people's emotions, they don't have any regard for people's family members, nothing, none, zero, zip, zilt. Source is saying somebody has to start looking at something from a higher frequency. Yeah, something is unresolved in these two people's spirit. Something is very unresolved in their spirit, because they triangulate, they turn people against each other, right? But you see this bowl right here behind lock and key. This is water. This is emotions. Somebody has no emotional attachment at this. They're like, you know what? We're gonna have to put the emotion behind us. We can't care about this anymore. This is going to just be a job. This was a game. You know, we can't care about something anymore. So somebody never stopped loving you. So here we have these energies at this point. Here we have the Four of Wands here. Something for them is just as routine, because four is the earth number. Earth was speaks to Capricorn, Taurus, Virgo. Something for these energies is literally almost like um it's like a person who just, like who's somebody who's a pathological liar, lies about something and just goes off and just like nothing ever happened, like for real, like somebody who like literally tried to ruin your life, Leo. This is what somebody is dealing with, like somebody who tried to ruin your life and talking to you like nothing ever happened, and you looking at them like, okay, wait a minute, am I tripping? Am I in the twilight zone? And we're still talking about you closing out a cycle here, so you can really think. Because somebody needs to get to a higher frequency. Like you need to get outside for real. Somebody needs to get outside. We're still talking about yesterday, right? Remember, time is relative, but I'm trying to help y'all to close out a cycle because we're in new moon phase. Um, but we're still talking about yesterday. I'm gonna let y'all know when we move to moon in Gemini, even though technically, if you're watching it today, the moon is in Gemini. So this is where somebody really needs in their throat chakra, really think, do I know my self-worth? Have I been spending way too much time talking to people that I haven't about who I have in common with, when I know for certain who certain people are hanging with, and I know some energies are not wrapped too tight? Am I still sitting around having conversation? Is my fire to this air energy that's talking to, listening to, am I playing some role in fanning the flames with something? You see this, this hair blowing in the wind? Am I fanning the flames to something by even giving any energy to it? That's karma, right? That's you being chained to someone else's karma. That's what people say. Well, I didn't say anything. I was just listening to what they said. They just, I didn't say anything. So it's like, but you was there, guilty by association. So that's what source is trying to tell somebody, is that you got somebody either has a promotion coming in, or you have new love coming in, or you got some kind of homecoming coming in. Like somebody could be coming home from school, somebody could be coming home from the military, something that you've been praying for to come back to you, or come in for you, and somebody is almost blocking that, or you're allowing some energies to block it. It's like literally blocking the sun. Is literally blocking good news. Like when you think about the sun, you think about high vibrational sunny disposition. You think about, at the highest of the high, like, putting you at this place where you're just on cloud nine. Somebody is literally blocking that for you because they want you chained to them with their master manipulation. And you have enough information at this point. You have enough information to end something. Number 10 means the end of something. Somebody's still talking to somebody. Somebody's still talking to somebody because you're still trying to soothe the savage beast in somebody. And source is like, okay, You better find out what your moon sign is and pour into yourself that way, and stop taking phone calls. I don't know who I'm talking to, but you need to stop taking phone calls and let whoever think whatever. Because at this point, looking at your reading, there's a part of me energy that I'm picking up on, and of course, it's not all Leos. To some degree, I feel like there's a Leo that could be to some degree know that something isn't wrapped too tight, and somebody could be a little afraid of. And I know some of you are like, oh, I'm not afraid of so and so. I'm just a little nervous because I don't know what they're gonna do. You know, maybe to themselves or whatever the case may be. But somebody really needs to re-examine just being a prayer warrior for real. Learning how to pray for people and really trust God and kind of getting out of God's way, really getting out of God's way, seeing something from a higher frequency. Because I definitely feel like you have somebody has two loved ones, ancestors that's watching over you, and be grateful for. Like, take the load off of your shoulders. That's what sources say. Be grateful that you have ancestors that's there to take a load off of your shoulders. Y'all know what I'm saying? It's almost like having two very intelligent parents in the household, very responsible parents in the household. When you got a sibling, you know, or a good friend where you don't really have the answers for something, and you feel like they're in somewhat of a crisis, and you go to them for some advice, and they give you the perfect advice, and you feel like, whew, I got the weight off my shoulders. I don't even have to worry about that anymore. It's like, okay, you gave it to Most High God. I don't have to worry about that anymore. Now I can focus on me, right? So you're not worried about them saying, oh, you know, I was there for you when you really needed me. Yeah, I'm there for you too. It's an honor and a privilege to pray for somebody, for real. People don't know how valuable praying for somebody is. You took time out of your day to talk to the one, the source, the only source, right? Right. So yeah. So yeah. Somebody, I feel like somebody could be like kind of demonizing you to some degree, because you won't, they can't manipulate your emotions the way they want to manipulate your emotions, right? And that's what the secret is, right? The moon exposes the secret. The sun sits behind the moon, and it's exposing their secret, that they cannot manipulate you the way that they want to manipulate you in that way. They can't manipulate you in the bedroom. That's part of water, right? Procreation. They can't manipulate you with you know, flex magic. I'm just gonna use the word flex in the place of that because they, you know, YouTube, other stuff will trigger other commercials with flex magic, right? They can't do dark moon magic on you. They can't use flex magic. They can't use mental head game magic. They can't use the emotional magic on you because you're ruled by the sun. And the moment you started realizing, I need to get my rest, I need to pour into myself. It doesn't matter who it is. It could be your mom, your dad, your siblings. It could be your own adult kids. It could be your spouse. It don't matter. You could be a manager at work. Once you learn how to pour into you, once you start saying, okay, I know how to balance myself out, right? And I'm about enlightening other people and teaching them how to pour into themselves. You're not manipulating me. And then once you get what you want, you gone on back to enjoying your life while I'm sitting over here drained and confused because you got what you needed to get from me. See, somebody knows how to get this close to you. See how these people are getting real close to you and start talking about, oh, let's talk about the kids, whether they're your kids or somebody else's kids, or y'all have kids in common, or y'all grew up together, or when y'all was kids, when y'all were little, like whatever it is y'all have in common, they know energetically. And we're talking about sacral chakra, and we're talking about the physical realm, right? They know once their auric layer merges with yours, they got you, because it's like merging two bodies of water. This is water. All you need is a little bit of contamination, right? To even talking to them on the phone. That's why sources don't answer the phone, because the vibration of sound is what gets you. The vibration in your ear. It's like music calming the savage beast, right? But it's the vibration of the sound of their voice that gets you. You know, like when people talking about flex over the phone. That's why some of those back in the day, those lines were so popular, right? Like when people dating and they like, oh no, you hang up first. No, you hang up first. No, you hang up first. And y'all sit on the phone talking for 3 hours talking about no, you hang up first. It's a vibration of sound and it's coming through your ear gate, right? Or you see somebody who looks a certain way and you're like, okay, you're looking at something through your eye gate. So source is saying to you, somebody they know how to play on your emotions so well because they know if they say certain things to you, certain buzzwords to you, because words are spells, they know they got you. So source is saying to you, you're going to start talking to source. You're going to start listening to, listening to, whatever high frequency, anything that's going to keep you at a high frequency so you can get away from the distractions and the foolishness. You're going to do just what they're doing for other people, but in a higher frequency, right? You're putting the emotions to the side. You're treating them like a human, but what you're doing is, you're enforcing a boundary. You're enforcing a boundary like, you're not going to demonize me because you can't control my emotions. You're operating in the spirit of love and you're making a connection in humanity. In other words, you're at a higher frequency. You're not competing, comparing, all of this other mess. You're like, no, I operate in the spirit of love. Yeah, you're on top of everything. This is a wheel of fortune. You're on the wheel of fortune, right? So someone is very lucky to have you to see something from a higher frequency because you don't look down on people, right? This is Gemini's card, right? You don't talk down to people. You're about encouraging and inspiring people, and people love that light energy around you. And so this is what certain energies hate. They want you to be on this mean girl, mean guy kind of energy, that very teenage. When the sacral chakra is developed, that's between the ages of 15 through 21 years old. You could be 18 and 21 years old. I doubt it if you're watching the channel. You could be though. But looking at my numbers, and I look at the numbers, I look at the demographic, the age ranges, the gender, all of that. It's a very low percentage if you're between 18 and 21, right? So my point to you is, so somebody looks in the people in terms of partnerships. Like you look at people like there's greatness inside of everybody. You're not seeing people as your competition because you know who you are. For real, like okay, this is not to toot somebody's horn. I'm not even trying to be funny when I say this, but let's just use logic here. What else is competing with the sun? For real, I will wait. Nothing. What else is competing with the sky? What else is competing with anything? There is no competition. There's nothing. You don't see anybody as your competition. Why would you? That don't even make any sense. So when people start talking about, trying to manipulate you emotionally, they don't even understand that you already see through that emotion because your ruling luminary has already peeped that, right? If I'm using slang for a second, you already peeped that game. Source is saying to you, they are just upset that you peeped it. But instead of saying, you know what, Leo, you right. Somebody is down to earth. They are relatable. They don't want to say that because instead they rather keep it as like they're the only two that's sitting on the throne when everybody has a throne in their universe. So source is saying, be conservative with your time. Be conservative with your time. Everybody has a throne in their universe. So your ancestors are talking to you. They are talking to you about how people blindside people. Somebody, this is what you have in common. How people will catch somebody at an impasse in their life and start talking all this harsh, hurtful stuff about loved ones in their ear and hurt somebody and break somebody's heart. And then go right on back to partying and celebrating like nothing ever happened. While somebody's sitting there confused, heartbroken, and hurt. So you're protected by angels. You're protected by angels. But yeah, I'm telling y'all, that's why I keep saying turn down for what? I'm not saying that, to boost anybody's ego. Why would you deny yourself of knowing the fullness of what you were called to do? You're ruled by the sun. I mean, go look it up. I mean, do the fact checking yourself. And I'm even talking to my cross watchers. My cross watchers, Get very much in tune with your fifth house. Leo's rule fifth house. Or if you're not, if your sun sign is not Leo or your moon sign is not Leo, because your moon sign is just as important, but something is nostalgic for you. Something is very nostalgic for you when people treated you less than, maybe because your skin color within your same race, right? Maybe you had a different color hair, different texture hair. Somebody looked down on you. Maybe it was the shape of your nose, the shape of your lips, shape of your eyes. Maybe you look different from the people in your family. And we haven't even gotten out of the same race yet. So then outside of your race, maybe people treated you differently. Maybe you was a different gender. Maybe you were a different height. Maybe it took you years to grow into them big feet and them long hands, them long extremities. Whatever it was, something is nostalgic to you in your childhood. So you don't look like what you've been through. So somebody is saying, you want people's wishes to be fulfilled. In other words, somebody's not a hater, okay? Somebody is not a hater. You don't have time for all of that. You're closing out a cycle. So yeah, here we are in the moon in Gemini. I know this is a long video, but like I said before, it's kind of a makeup to let you all know. So the moon is in Gemini. Moon is in Gemini. So you don't have time for lazy people. People who are lazy, people who don't want, who they're irrational, they're materialistic, they don't want to do the work. They want to appear on this, I'm smarter than this person. I got more education than this person, but yet and still hurting people, wanting blindside people, acting like a teenager. Let's run up on somebody and do this and that. And let's go, and then go hang out and have a good time after we run up on somebody. And we don't showing no emotion, like a teenager. Like who is doing, like somebody is stuck on repeat, like stuck on processing something. Who is doing that? Let's go bully somebody. So Source is trying to help somebody. Source is really, really trying to help somebody to um, get away from certain types of energies. To get away from certain types of energies. Because like I said, you're a prayer warrior. There's a lot of people who are prayer warriors. A lot of people let Source fight their battles. A lot of people let Source fight their battles. Never judge a book by its cover. So I hear a lot of, you know, other readers, not a whole lot, but I do hear some readers, you know, putting that energy out into the universe. Oh, run up and you get done up. Listen, you put that energy out into the universe, that's your calling that energy back into your space, right? You don't want to call that kind of energy back into your space because you're tying yourself to someone else's karmic cycle. That is not the kind of energy that you call into your space. Not if you're high vibrational. That is not the energy you call into your space. So no problem. You're not meant to struggle and fight your way through. Drop the concerns of your ego and watch imaginary walls crumble away. You've already won. Yeah, you've already won. Yeah, so talking to you wherever Leo is in your birth chart. Wherever Leo is in your birth chart. Yeah, so wherever Leo is in your birth chart. So again, you got to see yourself as a winner of just winning in life just as you are, just as your unique self created in the image of the creator. So if you looking at life as winning against another human being, then you're already behind. So so that's a source is trying to help you to see something. Source is trying to help you to see something and helping you to inspire some other people, whoever it is. So let's see what we got here for you. All right, I know this is a long reading here, but yeah, so something is no problem for you. Something is no problem for you. But like I said, if somebody is all about, I just got to be the winner of something, like, okay, go play sports or something. Go play sports, compete in a beauty pageant or whatever, or go do something else, right? So a moon in Gemini. So here we are for moon in Gemini. Moon in Gemini, overarching question, because the moon in Gemini is really all about, it blends mental clarity, emotional release, and inner communication. It really invites you to reflect your thoughts, your words, your dualities, making it ideal for mental detox, letting go of outdated stories, tuning into inner truth before, like I said, the new moon, and we're in new moon phase. We're actually just, if you're watching Tuesday, it is new moon, right? So remember, Gemini rules third house, right? And so third house is all about early education, intelligence, sharing, interaction, logic, reason, communication skills, short trips, um, hobbies, right? That's literally like talking to somebody that you grew up with and they still talking about the same old stuff that y'all talked about when y'all were, kids. Still talking about the same old kind of mentality, like a person who has just never, traveled anywhere, never been anywhere. They still talking about the same old stuff. And it's just like, okay, well, when does moving beyond, when does the new conversation start? Like when does the, okay, we already made that connection. We got that part. We made the connection. But when does the humanity start? When does forgiveness begin? When does um equanimity start? When does all of the other stuff start? When does the stop competing with another human being stop? When does helping people, stop? Well, when does that stop? When do you, what do you have in common with another human being? When does that part start? So again, source is calling for maybe you all to either lead that or just go ahead and close. You're closing out a cycle because somebody is just very prideful. That's what I'm seeing here in this reading. So that's your overarching question for the moon in Gemini. Like I said, this is a second part of your video. So that was your moon in Taurus, closing out that cycle. So that's what I see. You closing out a cycle and not returning someone's call. There's been drama after drama after drama. So somebody wants to compare. If they got to get familiar with talking to other people about somebody else, they don't know where people are in their lives. They don't know what's going on in people's lives. They're just talking to other people, trying to get familiar with stuff, ain't even trying to get to know another human being. So, here's an overarching question for the moon in Gemini to get mental clarity and mental and emotional clarity about some things, right? So, apparently, you and someone have some things in common. With somebody else has something in common with them, possibly something having to do with spirituality or religion, right? And it's year 9, right? So year 9 is about higher education, philosophy, law, religion, travel, ethics, morals, personal beliefs, spiritual beliefs. So apparently you and some people have some things in common, but there are some people there's a karmic couple who is doing a lot of competing in comparison. They have that spirit. It's a teenager spirit. Having come out of that mindset of talking about people, creating a bunch of just drama, in people's lives, and then going back to like having a good time like nothing ever happened. So yeah. So you're being divinely guided. You're divinely guided. Yeah. Again, keeping it high vibrational while you're getting your rest during the new moon phase. All right. Yeah. All right. So what messages is your higher self trying to communicate to you right now? What messages is Leo's higher self trying to communicate with them right now about who you have in common with? Yeah. Um, let's see. It sounds like to me, either you all are already in a relationship with someone, whether it's a business partnership, because I saw that Lover's card. Lover's card is not always about romantic. It could be partnership. So either you're already in a business partnership with somebody that a couple feels they have some kind of feelings about, and it's hard for them to put their emotions to the side, maybe because they heard some lies about people that they just fixated on some lies. And that's the blockage for them. And so you are making a choice to close some things out, right? Let's see, 191. New opportunities coming your way. Make a positive change. Your angels are pushing you towards change you need to make. When you are excited about new opportunities, and people coming your way, good things will arrive. You are being encouraged to focus on the positives in new situations, to look forward to the challenges that will inevitably come with them. Listen to a song that empowers you right now, as you let yourself feel inspired and excited for what is to come. So, in other words, in that Four of Wands that we saw earlier, right? When you're dealing with energies, karmic couples who start out lying to you about something, and you have heard in familiar spirits, you haven't talked directly to people and you've heard things about them because of, who people have in common, who people know, but you haven't talked directly to people. It's almost like a person is like a person who's telling you their story, but they're adding their own sauce to it. They're adding their own flavor to something. So you never really get so it's you never really get the real. So something about it before you even, it's almost like before somebody even talks to you, they're already tainted by all of these lies about you before they even get to know you, right? So let me see here. So you have a lot of new opportunities coming. And I feel like somebody is all about unity here, all about unity here, right? And you have, and that's where you sort of Four of Wands there. People celebrating something. So you and somebody will be celebrating something. You and somebody in a partnership in business and or in love will be celebrating something new. So congratulations to you. And it's something divine, right? Divine meaning source, right? So even when you hear people say something about like secret societies, right? There are some groups, and this is not all. There are some people who are so nervous about hearing that word because they know what kind of person they are. Personally, they know what kind of person they are. They know what kind of dirt they're into, what they've done. They quickly go in and see something. It's like a hit dog hollering. They go into combative mode, right? But people who know that they're not doing ill towards other people, that would not phase anybody. Everybody's belonged to some kind of organization. That's everybody. So that's what Source is trying to tell you is certain things are going to roll off your shoulders because you know that's not your heart. For certain people, every little thing that they hear, see, they're talking about, they telling lies about, this group, they telling lies, but they can't peel themselves away from you or whoever you have in common. They can't peel themselves away from it. So Source is saying, because it's them. It's them. They can't peel themselves away. So it would be like somebody can't peel themselves away from you, but they always find something wrong with you. So, okay, they're obsessed. All right. All right. There it is. Obsessed. Y'all see? Well, you didn't see me shuffling because you usually hear it. It's a obsession. Tower card. Yeah, they're having a tower moment. Something about when they feel like when they're going through when they've made an impulsive decision to do something, to misjudge some energy, judge a book by its cover, and their pride hits them and they're like, oh shoot, I misjudged somebody, I was wrong about somebody. Instead of them just saying, dang, you know what, I need to apologize, I was totally wrong, knowing good and well how it would feel if somebody did the same thing to them, them apologizing, no, they're going to keep going at it and at it and at it until they find that very thing that's wrong. That's why you're closing out cycles. So yeah, you're being divinely guided by God. So it's you again. Prayer warrior came out again. The second part of it. Prayer warrior. You got new opportunities coming. Prayer warrior. So yeah, yeah. So that's what it is. It's like, how can you? And also another question is, how can you silence inner noise and listen to your soul's truth? Soul truth is God. God is the truth. That is the truth. True and living God. That's it. I am. I am is source. The great I am is source. That's the divine. Okay. So I had to make a little bit more room because this is a pretty lengthy reading. So my apologies for those of you all who are not used to listening to readings this long. This is a two-parter. No, a two-part to your reading. But you've invested a lot of time into people who feel like they are the only person sitting on a throne within a group, right? They have to be the smartest, they have to be the most accomplished, they have to be the most this and most that. And Source is saying, but there are other people out here who are also accomplished. Some energies don't want to reach across the table and share, sit down for a moment. You all have been in that space where, again, as a Leo, I'm talking to high vibrating Leos now, where y'all have sat down, y'all clapped and cheered for your friends and loved ones on stage when they've had their moment. Whatever the moment was, no matter how big or small, y'all been there. Y'all have been overgivers of people and y'all have had to learn in breaking these cycles and chains when you needed people to be there for your birthdays, whatever you were celebrating for you. Some people came up with some kind of reason. We're not talking about something legitimate, something that could have been for real. They told you ahead of time something, y'all know what I'm saying. It's a whole lot of reason, but somebody told you ahead of time, and they made it up to you. They said, hey, I can't make it. They asked who all is going to be there. I can't be there because so and so is going to be over there, and this is the reason why. I'd rather not go further between me and you. Maybe you and I can do something later, and they let you know. They were being honest with you, forthright, and telling you, right? You're not trying to play with people's mental health, right? Um, but we're talking about, y'all know what I'm saying. We're talking about the ones who you seem like you're almost always there for them. You can't always be anything or never, but you're there for them the majority of the time when you can be. Or if you can't be, you don't have a problem communicating that you won't be. But for them, they almost treat your time like it's invaluable, right? So it goes back to the moon in Taurus. It's like you may have overstayed, you may have overgiven to them, and they may have undervalued or devalued you, whether it was on a job, they devalued you, didn't get paid what you were worth, or friendships or family relationships. Somehow you felt devalued. So somebody could be dealing with a person in their circle right now that's like this. You could be dealing with a couple that's like this. Like basically, okay, they can't be a part of this circle of energies as if God is not within them. And so you're seeing something. Like somebody is not a team player. And if you're a person who is, again, if you're a person who is a team player and you inspire people, again, I'm talking to my high light vibrating Leos, and you are a leader, right? And you don't look down on people because of their gender, their race, their whatever the case may be, and you're all about being inclusive, that is not team player mentality, period. It's not being a part of a team. Like that does not sound like it's a part of a team. The team of source, right? That's what's hidden right here with the Tower card. First house and eighth house, right? Here we are in year 9, right? And again, what is year 9? Year 9 is higher education. Excuse me, it's about higher education, philosophy, law, religion, travel, ethics, morals, personal beliefs, and spiritual beliefs. The difference between year 9 and year 8, like I said, year 3 and year 9, like I said, Gemini, new moon in Gemini. Gemini is rules third house. Third house is about early education, right? Ninth house is higher education. Third house is intelligence. Um, Ninth house is philosophy. Um, Third house is sibling interaction. Ninth house is law, religion, travel, ethics, morals, personal beliefs. Third house is logic, reason, communication. So both of them are about really communication, but the difference is I'm talking about spirituality, meaning that expanding, spiritual knowledge. Some people only think in terms of the physical, what's on paper. I got these degrees, this certificate, this, I got this and that, and somebody else doesn't have anything. So I don't want someone, I got this level of training and I don't want somebody to be a part of such and such. So when they're sitting there, they're almost sitting there like, I went through all of this and I should be here and other people should not be there, no matter how spiritually gifted and talented. Like I said, when source calls you, because I'm seeing this for you all, because you got new opportunities coming your way. And this is what somebody is starting to see is that you're seeing something. It's almost like you are seeing source is putting somebody's having a premonition of when the source has called you to do something, but you're literally sitting in front of the same energies. So, for instance, if you're being called to a leadership position, the spirit that source is showing you with certain people is that these are the energies that's going to be a challenge for you because they have that same type of haughty spirit. Is if you don't have this degree, this certificate, this, that, then we don't think that you're worthy, as if because they have a God complex. And that's what source is trying to tell you. Somebody has a God complex and you're a leader on your job. You're a leader on your job. You've led people successfully. People have talked about your leadership. People have held you in high regard. You have checked out. People have checked you out. They know that you can do it. And you still got people sitting around where they don't have this. We've done background check. Who, like I said, you're about to cut some energies off. Look, here's an ace of, because you gaining clarity. You like going back to your mind, like, okay, this sound, you know what? Now it's clear. Now it's very clear. It's very clear. Somebody is dealing with a Pied Piper who is just absolutely determined. Yeah, somebody is determined um, to bring out the dark side of somebody to make themselves look like they are the light. Right. So the duality of a Pied Piper is a savior versus a trickster, right? So the light side of the Pied Piper is that he leads the town out of chaos by ridding it of rats, symbolizing cleansing, solution, and influence through talent, which is music, charisma, spiritual gifts. The shadow side of the Pied Piper would be, the trickster. So when betrayed, he retaliates by leading the town's children away, symbolizing deception, manipulation, consequences of broken promises, and misplaced trust, right? And so as a leader, leadership versus seduction. The piper leads, but it's is it divine guidance or hypnotic control? This duality asks, are you being inspired or blindly following? It warns of charismatic figures who blurs the lines between mentorship and manipulation, right? And then harmony versus disruption. Music equals harmony, beauty, spiritual alignment, but the results equal loss, grief, hidden truths. This reflects how even beautiful gifts, which is art, speech, spirituality, can be misused. Ego or vengeance drives them, right? And so source is trying to help somebody like, listen, meekness does not mean weakness, right? Just because people wear their heart on their sleeve or on their, around their neck, right? Outside of them, because people are compassionate towards some people are very compassionate leaders. So apparently somebody is watching somebody. Some people feel like they have to be very stern and look down on people and have this very haughty energy about them, and you can't have any emotions. You got to put the emotions to the side, and you just got to be just very, you know. So somebody is not going back to something. Yeah, something is pushing you away real fast. Something is pushing you away just really, really fast because it just feels karmic to you. You're trying to get real focused because some energies are trying to pull you in. Two energies. One is to come to passive and powerless behavior. The other one is the other one is egotistical, materialistic, and forceful. And something for you is just is hard to stay focused with this. Somebody is trying to do a destiny swap here, and destiny swap is very different than somebody who doesn't know what they, somebody saying, somebody don't know who they are when they look in the mirror. That is not a destiny swap at all. There's tons of movies about destiny swap. Somebody does not want to do the work. Somebody does not want to do the emotional work, right? They want to look like something on paper, but they don't want to do the emotional work. That's why it's hard for some people to show compassion towards mankind. They don't want to do the emotional work. It's too hard to look at themselves emotionally. It's almost like, okay, they've gone through some emotional challenges. It's hard for some people to look at themselves. So they don't want you to have any compassion, but you're on top of something. Yeah, you're on top of something. Yeah. And people are caught in a karmic cycle. They sort of like to just phase people out by just saying, okay, we got this information, we got enough information, but they keep people in the dark about things. But no, something I'm telling y'all, somebody comes from you inherited a psychic gift. Somebody inherited a psychic gift. That is why you being a team player, somebody inherited a psychic gift in the womb. That's why when your shoulders hurt and your back hurt and your skin feels very sensitive, right? And when you in full moon energy, your body starts to ache because this fullness in you, your intuition is heightened. Everybody's intuition is heightened full moon. But when you're around people who practice dark moon magic, your body starts to ache. You want to start to listen to that. Your body starts to ache around people who practice dark moon magic because somebody is psychic energy. Your body literally starts to ache. You may have thought that you worked out, or maybe you think you're getting older and your body's starting to creak, or you slept the wrong way. I'm telling you, when you're around dark moon energy, you can tell when you're talking to, you're thinking about dark moon energy because something about their energy, I'm talking to men and women, obviously, some people are beyond that age, or you can't, have children. I'm trying to be sensitive to everyone, but you have new opportunities coming across your path, but some people don't want the healthy balance of in the spirit realm and the physical realm. They just hover in the physical realm, but it's so unhealthy. Everything becomes a transaction for them. Literally everything becomes a transaction, or they'll just cut people off. Somebody coming in and crying about something. They need help in their relationships. They need help with their kid in any kind of relationship. It's like, I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to deal with that. But somebody didn't deal with that with them. It's like, I don't have time for that. If it's not about the money, it don't make sense. For real. So you're on top of something. You're on top of something as a team player. So you're on top of something as a team player. So you're letting go of something. So let go of negative people and toxic beliefs. Your time on earth is precious. Invest it wisely and be mindful of who you spend time with. Yep, be mindful of who you spend time with. A deeper world. So don't push or force your way through life. Finding balance, even in dark times, will open your heart to the depth of compassion in everyday moments, especially if you have kids and you've seen how cruel kids can be. But everybody has an inner child. Everybody, doesn't matter what your age is, everybody has an inner child. Um, and your inner child would be like your moon sign, like it would be that secret and so, and for you just like your inner child to come out and play. But some people are just, they don't know how to, for them to let their inner child come out and play. To them, it feels like it's being very immature. They need to grow up. So somebody moves away or they detach from a parent, the first thing they tell them and they cry is that they need to grow up, or they're lamenting, or they're sad, or they're sulking, and they don't need any nurturing. Doesn't matter if you're a man or woman, doesn't matter what your age is. A loved one transition, let's say you think about it now, God forbid somebody's, major nurturer in your family transitions, you'd be heartbroken. Imagine having somebody in your life basically like, oh, I can't deal with that right now. You just, I can't, that's just too much. You need to get over that. Or telling you how much time you had, like, nah, nope. So you're trusting your feelings, right? You would literally think you were talking to somebody who had batteries in their back, or you need to plug them up in the closet somewhere at night and recharge them. So you are unique. Your destiny is waiting for you to write your story and pave your own path. Follow your heart. Don't let others dictate who you should be. Yeah. Yeah. So everybody has an inner child. And so some people were treated, their inner child was treated that way. But something about, like I said, you have a lot of new opportunities. And remember, Pluto is in Aquarius until 2043. Pluto is the outermost generational planet. You're breaking a lot of generational cycles, chains, and curses. You're answering calls in your life. And something you're doing, you're breaking cycles, you're breaking curses generationally, right? Something is being passed down through you, whether you're a man or woman, for men and women, for your sons and your daughters. Something, I'm talking to men who are bringing compassion back for their sons and their daughters, grandkids, all of that. We got enough cruel energies out here that's on robot time with other people's kids. They have no compassion for other people's kids. None. Zero, zip, zilch. Somebody need to grow up. They was just too baby. When I was their age, I had this. I had already done this, that, and the other. You don't know what people have gone through in their lives. So, and why people are drinking. So Page of Cups. So somebody is still assassinating people's characters behind their back, and they're continuing. So some good news is coming through is that somebody is getting ready to stop. Somebody is going to stop, drinking at some point, because there's enough information at this point for somebody to just, like I said, be divinely guided. To be divinely guided. Some people are so cruel, they have zero compassion whatsoever, but those are usually the people who want the most compassion for people. Nobody ever showed me when I needed such and such and such and such. Nobody ever showed me. They'll be the first one talking about people behind their back. So Source is saying to you, you have the whole world in front of you. When I tell you the window of opportunity about to open up, bust wide open for you, Leos, that's an understatement. Because you all are very responsible. You're ruled by the sun. I'm telling you, the world is your stage. There's too many people out here who have not had any compassion. They have gone to people and asked for help. Zero compassion, unless, you know, and for other people, it's just a transaction. And you can only fake that, but for so long, because you're going to start hearing a lot of people talk about transactional this, transactional that, right? You can fake it, but for so long. But it's something about whoever I'm talking to, it's something about your genuine, pure nature. And I'm talking about for real, that genuinely cares about people, sincerely cares about people, that's going to say, you know what, I'm not faking this. This is really who I am, for real. I don't see somebody as trying to be somebody else. That's destiny swapping is somebody who doesn't want to do the work. That's somebody who doesn't want to do the work. Somebody just thinking in the physical realm. Oh, they don't want to do the training. They don't want to do the work. They don't want to get the degrees. They don't want to get the certificates. We got the classes. Who wants to take classes under people who would just cut somebody off because they have emotions for people and compassion? Mm-mm. Who wants to be a part of that kind of training? So here we have inner strength. That's what the military is for. Even you got leaders in the military that's compassionate, depending on who you get. Inner strength. So don't lose yourself in things you can't change. So focus on the things you can change: attitude, mindset, and energy. You've got everything you need. It's really person by person. Everybody, you can't judge an entire group of people by one, two people, right? And so it's usually the hit dogs that holler. Obviously, we're not calling person a dog. It's just a saying. Obviously, you know that. But yeah, it's usually the hit dogs that holler, that it's usually them. They speak, I mean, they tell on themselves. They're the ones that want to be somebody else. They're the ones that don't want to do the work. So Source is saying to you, two energies want to be you and somebody else so bad that they're trying to, this eight right here, chain you and somebody else to them in a very unhealthy and wounded way around money, meaning time is money, your self-worth and your self-value, and also in a very unhealthy, flexual way, right? So it could be through the kids, it could be through, like shared interests, whatever it is, through, occult knowledge, because that's the eighth house. Eighth house is around, death, transformation, shared finances, inheritance, loans, the occult, mystery, intimacy, or whatever. But where there is hope, but don't believe the past defeats or disappointments will keep you from succeeding. True success grows from the lesson. A hopeful heart never gives up. So yeah, it's time for you to go into prayer warrior mode. Really, for just use this week into first quarter moon. We have a first quarter moon in Gemini. Go into prayer warrior mode. Just schedule some time. Just on your calendar. Just make it the 7 days. Just relax. Carve out some time. I don't know what people's work schedule is. I'm going into prayer warrior mode. You trying to gain clarity from God, for real. You're trying to gain clarity from God. You're trying to get some rest, and journal, because Source will be giving you some downloads. Source will be giving you downloads. Whether you're watching this channel, somebody else's channel, it doesn't really matter. There's no competition nowhere. whoever channel you get some information from. Readers support each other, right? So that's why you don't hear a whole lot of readers talking negatively about other readers. You may hear some, but I mean, I don't know who they are, but you don't hear a whole lot of readers talking negatively about each other, like, oh, you shouldn't listen to this one or that one, whatever. So here we have ease. It's easy for me to receive. It's easy for me to receive. It's easy for me to receive. Yeah. So somebody just likes to be in a position of being superior to other people, to say, oh yeah, if it wasn't for me, they wouldn't have this knowledge and that knowledge. Somebody just likes to be, if somebody is very low vibrating, they must have, they somewhere in their fifth house, they feel like they are superior, but they're stuck. They're stuck. They can't see. They're at an impasse. They literally, it's like their eyes are just like this, they can't see something. They really cannot see something. They can't see something. They're the type of an energy is that they cannot see it. They don't believe things until they physically see something, right? And that's a sad place to be because they don't even believe God. So something happened to them. Something happened to them very early on, like in their childhood between the ages of 0 through 7, that they may have prayed about something, but their Chiron is thrown completely out of alignment because that's such a deep spiritual wound. They don't even believe God, but they're demonizing other people. They don't even believe God. And so I'm definitely not teaching religion. I don't believe what you want to believe, but somebody doesn't believe God. So somebody is basically trying to project that on the other people. Oh, they don't believe in God because of this and that. And but they can't peel their self away from you and somebody else. So, yeah. So they like to hang people out to dry. They literally do. They like to literally hang people out publicly, like put people on social media, make people look bad, humiliate people. If every human being has not gone through a humiliation ritual their entire life, this type of energy feels like they have been humiliated, but they want to humiliate people publicly, like as if people haven't already been humiliated publicly enough. They want to add to the humiliation. They don't understand how Tower really works. They really don't understand how Tower really, really works. So, yeah. So, Source is saying it's time for you to kind of get into your, get meticulous, get into your sixth house. Like, really get into your, your health, your work habits, your daily routine, your fitness, your pets, your service to others. This is really just like plant some seeds within yourself. Like, get real meticulous with yourself. Not nitpicky, that would be on the dark side of that, but like really get to a point where you really start analyzing self, and start seeing the great I am in you and in other energies, and just like really take some inventory of like, who are the energies that you're around? Are these are the energies? Yeah, they could be energies of excellence, but where did they start? I mean, generationally, because this is a generation. This speaks also to Scorpio and Aries, right? They take one look at people and just like, oh no, we don't want them to be a part of this because they don't come from such and such. Everybody's family has experienced that. Somebody in everybody's family has experienced that. We don't want them to be a part of such and such because they don't look like they would be a part of such and such. Right? So somebody has seen you or somebody else as almost not worthy of something. And that seed was planted in them very long ago to humiliate compassionate people, like really to do like what comes to mind is um, the story of Esther and the king, set person who was second command, someone who has a total abuse of power. They had, and y'all know the story, a lot of people already know that story. And this person completely abused their power. They set out to hang this person from a 50-foot gallows because the person wouldn't do what they wanted them to do. He told all these lies and all of this other stuff, and set out until modern day a 50-foot gallows would basically be putting somebody on the internet, like exposing someone on the internet, doing something illegal to post somebody on the internet, right? To humiliate somebody. Because again, they got this teenager mentality. And like I said, for the whole world to see, they see all these opportunities coming someone's way, to much yours, and say, okay, they can't see it. They so angry, they cannot see what they have in common with someone else. They can't see what they have in common with another human being, with you and another human being. So the threat is we can put something online just like that using technology. We're talking about 11th house, right? Technology, right? They're not coming back. So we can use something that like lickety split that can take off like wildfire all around the world. Put something online about two energies that will go all around the world, right? But see, what's hidden in fire is that an inspired action has already been taken. So source is saying to you that seed has already been planted too. So operate in the spirit of faith. Miraculously, amazingly, everything I need always comes. Love is opening me to receive beyond anything I can imagine. And we're not talking about erotic love, just so we're crystal clear. We're talking about agape. We're talking about source's love. It's already crystal clear. Already crystal clear. Somebody wants to deny someone's gift of sight. Someone's gift of sight. Someone wants to cut the eyes out of a seer, right? Somebody who sees, has a gift of sight, clear sight, who knows how to uncover secret knowledge. All right. So somebody is just that angry. So you could have that gift of sight. You and somebody could have the gift of sight. You have that gift of sight. Something about your eyes, not necessarily doesn't have to be your eye color, but something around your eyes, something about your eyes. And somebody feels like, something they can't see, like they have been blinded by something, so they want to switch with someone else, but they don't know what it took for someone to be able to see, spiritually see. So they just want to end someone and they are obsessed with it, right? So, but again, here we have the tower. But this is what I have for you all. This is what I have for you all. This is what I have for you all. So when somebody is that upset and they're that blinded by rage and anger and frustration, source is saying something happened to you. You've been on the receiving end of something where somebody just could not see the end result of um, how things could fall apart for them because they were so blinded by rage. And so while you may have forgiven some energies, source is saying you're seeing something play out again with three people who share this in common: dance. Dancing under the sun, and you're seeing some kind of an ending happening. You're seeing some kind of secrets being uncovered. So what you're seeing is some kind of something around spirituality. You're seeing some kind of some kind of addictions, some kind of endings happening, some kind of emotions come out, some kind of secrets come out about some energies. And so that's what I'm seeing for you all. Hopefully this has been helpful. Like I said, this reading was long intentionally. I wanted to add 2 videos together for you all for both the moon in Taurus and also the moon in Gemini. But again, happy new moon to you all, Leos. I know when y'all see the time on this video, you probably be like, what? We almost have a hour and 30 minutes, or I don't know how long this video is. Anyway, but yes, congratulations to you. So again, thank you for letting me know. I know this is a long video, but yeah, anytime somebody gets so blinded by rage of you and someone else that they don't even see a tower coming down on them, that they're so enraged by something, and this is what you have in common with people, that they can do that and just go out and just go dancing like nothing ever happened. Something in you, it shouldn't be a fear for you it should be sort of a God telling you you need to unchain yourself from something, because their arms are too short to box with God, but you have to let them go through whatever karmic cycle they're in, so God can show them, here, there's another way. There's another way. There's another way. You should have prayed about something. You should have waited for, God to give you some clarity or something. But going that way, a physical way to do something, or try to harm somebody in a love, not cool. But that is what I have for you. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to say about these three dancers, because I'm looking at the sun here, and I'm looking at these auric layers and these colors, right? So we got number 9 here, right? So 9 and 4 is 13. So what's hidden in here, the hidden is uh, Scorpio. Scorpio is a death card. So there's 3 energies that's trying to force someone to go through a rebirth. They're trying to force a rebirth. And what's here is a Leo is involved, an Aquarius involved in something. There is a Pisces and a Virgo somehow plays some kind of role in all of this. Even though you see 4 here, there is a unhealthy energetic tie some way to an energy that has a God complex, someone who felt like there's like a puppeteer, an energy whose first house is out of alignment, someone who has a very fiery personality, someone who has a very bad temper, um, someone whose appearance may come across as this one who is being divinely guided, but they take one look at people, they have this first impression of people, and it's a lasting impression. It's really their way or the highway. If they don't get their way, they go right into um, I'm gonna do this to the death of me. You know how people do things to the nth degree. It's like an energy that's like, I'm gonna do this until I put somebody's lights out and put their flame out, like that kind of energy. It's not no compassion in it whatsoever. So it's like people pulling puppet strings. So somebody out of that has to be compassionate enough. So it's okay, I'm gonna take the weakest link and I'm going to replace whoever they believe is the weakest link. But the thing about that, people looking at people who are compassionate as a weakest link, it's like people are in a robotic state, right? Are in a robotic state. Um, and but these are the same, but they somehow they forgot that they're in human form. These are the types of energies, and I'm gonna say this and close it out. Looking at your cards here, there is a what is the name of the book that I had on my table before? This writer. What is the name of this book? I just saw him on Instagram. He's speaking at a college graduation, and the book is excellent. Um, but what's interwoven into his book is compassion. And we're living in such an information age of AI and automation, which we've been in for so long, where it's replacing a lot of jobs. It's replacing a lot of human beings. We have we went. I mean, I'm not going to stay on this for long. We've been in a place where humans are being replaced with robots. Um, um, they're being replaced. People are losing their jobs, a lot of things. These energies, instead of them seeing something from a higher frequency, they're stuck in a processing loop. Like literally, like when you hit enter, a hard reset needs to happen for them. And that's a tower. A hard reset needs to happen. They're just stuck in a loop. They literally are stuck in a loop. And so source is saying to you, they're just stuck in a like a delusional loop. They're stuck in a loop of just secrets, just keeping stuff in just like, and so something is being brought to the light, and that's what you're seeing. So your sunlight is exposing something. So whenever you expose something, then the energies, like I said in the previous video, comes across as you're saving someone, but that's emotional manipulation, and that's why you're closing out a cycle and moving on. But that's what I have for you all. But yeah, when you're around human beings who have no compassion for other human beings, something should tell you, Leos, it's time for you to check out. Like for real, something about you. Y'all are, again, high vibrating Leos. Y'all are really about inner child. Fifth house rules that inner child, having fun, in romance, in creativity, expression, and hobbies, like what makes you feel good. Y'all are about that energy, even as adults. Um, but to be around people who kind of wear the skin of that, but it's with this underlying mean guy, mean girl kind of energy for you, that just doesn't, that doesn't work for you. It doesn't work for you. So that's what I have for you. Hopefully this has been helpful, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.